Alright, so today I'm going to be rating all the Eggwars shop items. Okay, so before we start, I just want to say that this video took lots of editing and hard work to make, so subscribing and liking would be very much appreciated. So without any further ado, let's start. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be rating the shop items based on their affordability, practicality, and how much they actually get used. First up, we have leather armor. Leather armor is definitely a top tier item. I don't know what I would do without it, because what else would I buy at the beginning of a game when there are people rushing me with their iron swords? For only 4 iron, you get a full set of protection 4 leather armor. It's basically free because 4 iron takes, what, like 3 seconds to get? And without it, you would die in 3 seconds. So yeah, hashtag buy leather armor. And of course, leather armor is an S tier item. Chain armor. I would give chain armor a solid D. It's not too different from leather armor, other than the fact that it costs 40 gold, while leather armor only costs 4 iron. It's not really practical to save up all your gold for it, but if you're on a map like Snowy, I guess it makes sense to buy it if you have extra gold. So yeah, gold armor is a D tier item in my book. Iron armor. I would put iron armor at a B, because sure, it's not really useful for sweaty players like me, who can smack full diamond people right off the edge with their fist, but when I was a noob, I was buying iron armor almost every game. You could buy it if you just want to play safe, so for those reasons, it is a B tier. Diamond armor. Diamond armor is pretty much a novelty and only used in long games. I don't ever see myself buying diamond armor in a real game. It also costs 128 diamonds. Like, come on, that just takes so long to get. And for those reasons, it is an F tier item. Wooden sword. The wooden sword is an S tier item. It costs 5 iron and is part of what most people buy at the beginning of a game. It may not be too powerful, but it gets the job done with people who choose to not buy leather armor. Stone sword. I usually don't buy stone swords in Eggwars, mainly because it costs 27 more iron than a wooden sword, and it's only a little bit better in terms of damage. I would give stone swords an E because honestly, a wooden sword works just fine. Iron sword. Now iron swords on the other hand are worth it in my opinion. I definitely buy them a lot more than stone swords, and that's because there isn't really much to do with gold other than gapples and iron swords. Of course, there's TNT and other items that cost gold, but they're really just used for fun and aren't really used in a lot of situations. If I have 12 diamonds and 16 gold, I would definitely buy an iron sword and spend the diamonds on something like armor. Obviously, this is if I already have gapples. Iron swords are an A. Sharp 2 diamond sword. Sharpness 2 diamond swords aren't much of a step up from iron ones. I would rather spend 12 diamonds on armor instead of a sharp 2 diamond sword. Again, this is like comparing a wooden sword and the stone sword. The diamond sword costs more than the iron sword, but it isn't actually that much better. They still have their uses though if you're playing in a map like Bridges, so I'll give sharp 2 diamond swords a B. Sharp 5 diamond swords. Sharp 5 diamond swords are used in the same way as diamond armor. It's just a novelty and used in long games. So like you may have guessed, it's getting an F. Carrots. I don't really buy carrots anymore because I don't like to stop and eat for 20 seconds when someone's chasing me. Sure, it's technically a better deal if you buy carrots than steak, because 5 carrots replenishes 7.5 hunger bars, while for the same price, 1 steak only replenishes 4. But still, if you're 4 hunger bars down and someone is attacking you, you can either eat 2 carrots or 1 steak to heal up. And of course, it's always better to be safe than sorry, so that's why I always buy steak now. Not to mention that steak also gives more saturation, meaning that you're gonna heal faster from it. So for those reasons, I'm giving carrots a solid C. Steak. Steak is a top tier item because of what I just said about it earlier, so it's getting an A. Golden carrots. Golden carrots give more saturation than any other food item, but they also only give 3 hunger bars, which causes the same problem as normal carrots, which is why I'm giving golden carrots a B. Golden apples. Golden apples are essential in lots of situations. For only 2 gold, they can mean the difference between life or death. I cannot tell you how many times golden apples have saved me. So yeah, golden apples, as you may have guessed, are definitely getting a well-deserved S. Powerful golden apples. Powerful golden apples, also known as god apples, are not very practical in my opinion. For their price, you can buy a player tracker or 2 pieces of iron armor. I mean, I guess it could be useful if you're about to die, but again, you can just eat a regular golden apple and run till you're fully healed up. I'll give powerful golden apples a D. Milk. Alright, I'm just gonna say it, milk is getting an F. It's only ever useful if someone shoots you with an arrow that has a potion effect on it, and that barely ever happens in any real games. For the 5 gold that it costs to buy milk, you can buy 2 golden apples and still have 1 gold to spare. So yeah, again, milk is getting an F. Cake. Cake, believe it or not, is actually not useless, but it's not exactly leather armor level either. The reason it is used is because there's no eating animation when you eat it. So this means if someone is chasing you and you're running low on hunger, you can always pop down a cake and eat it without slowing down. Cake is getting a generous B. Emerald chop. This time I'm actually going to be talking about all the emerald chop items. I didn't want to do each of them individually because they're all getting the same score. These items are honestly worse than diamond armor because at least diamond armor gets used in long games. In all the long games I've played, I've only ever seen other players get emeralds like 2 or 3 times. And the only time I ever used emeralds legitimately was on the first day that they were released. I think the main reason that the emerald chop items are never used is because to get the emerald generator started, you first have to pay 15 diamonds. Most people would just spend that on iron armor. Even after you get the generator started, you have to wait 15 seconds per emerald. This means that if you want to buy the cheapest thing emeralds can buy, you have to wait a whole minute, which most people are not willing to do. So I would give the emerald chop items a mega F, but that doesn't exist, so I'll settle with an F. Bows. Like the emerald chop items, I'm gonna group all the bows in one because they're all pretty much used in the same way. The only real situations that bows are actually useful in is if there's a skybaser, underbaser, or if you're just having a long game. I'll give bows a D because skybasers and underbasers aren't really that common. Arrow. Well, yep, it's an arrow. You need it to use a bow, so I guess I'll just give it a D as well. Slowness arrow. If you think about it, a slowness arrow isn't actually that useless. Say someone is running away from you, which happens a lot. You can hit them with a slowness arrow to catch up with them. But this really isn't necessary because you can just run until they get cornered. So slowness arrows are getting a C. Weakness arrows. I honestly don't understand why these were even added. Weakness is only useful if you're having close-up combat with swords, but bows are meant for long-range combat. I guess you could shoot your opponents with a weakness arrow before a fight, but chances are that as soon as you hit them, they'll probably run away. So yeah, weakness arrows are getting an F. Stone pickaxe. The stone pickaxe is like the wooden sword in the way that most people buy one at the beginning of a game. I'm giving it an A and not an S because it can't break obsidian quickly, which can be really annoying at times. Iron pick. The iron pick is like a more expensive version of the stone pick. It can't break obsidian either, but it costs 32 times more than the stone pickaxe. You could compare a stone and iron pick to a wooden stone sword, except even if you have spare iron, I wouldn't suggest buying an iron pickaxe. The iron pickaxe is useless in every situation, so it's getting an F. Efficiency 2 diamond pickaxe. The efficiency 2 diamond pickaxe is super handy. It's perfectly priced at only 5 gold, and it can break obsidian fairly quickly. The efficiency 2 diamond pick is getting an S. The next 3 pickaxes are going to be rated as a group because they're all pretty useless. These are again only really used in long games and are really unpractical to buy in real games. The cheapest of these picks costs 12 diamonds, which you can instead spend on iron armor or a diamond sword. And there's really no point of buying one of these pickaxes in a real game when an efficiency 2 one works just fine. So I'm giving those last 3 pickaxes an F. Stained clay. Stained clay without a doubt is an S tier item. I mean, how else would you get to other people's islands? Of course there's glass, hay bales, and obsidian, but they're all pretty expensive compared to clay. Stained clay is an S tier item and an essential for sure. Stained glass. I'm really not sure why glass was even added to Eggwars. It doesn't even defend your egg from explosions. I really don't get the point of it unless you're building a house or something. I guess you could use it in your egg defense because you can't get tools that will break it faster, but it still breaks very quickly. Stained glass is an E. Gold ore. Again, I'm not 100% sure what gold ore is actually used for. My guess is that it's supposed to be a block used in an egg defense, but I could be wrong. The reason I think it belongs in an egg defense is because anything worse than an iron pickaxe can't break it. It's kind of like a cheaper version of obsidian, but I would just save up and actually buy obsidian instead of the gold ore version. Gold ore is a D tier item. Hay bale. Like the glass, I'm not 100% sure why hay bales were actually added, but my guess is that it's used to MLG from high places. I could always be wrong, and this could just be another block to defend your egg, but I think the MLG feature is better. Hay bales are getting a C because if you actually think about it, there's quite a bit of situations where you have to jump from up high. Obsidian. Obsidian is a bit like iron armor. It doesn't really get used by better players, but you could always use it to just play safe. It's really fairly priced for what it is at only 3 gold. I really don't use obsidian much, but for its price, I'll give it a B. Ladder builder. Ladder builders aren't really useful to most players. They're kind of just a fun item in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. A lot of good players use ladder builders to get away from fights by placing them under the bridge that they jumped off of and then climbing up. I'll give ladder builders a D. Wall builders. These are really just a fun item, however you could use them for block trapping, which is technically a combat use, so just because they rarely get used in PvP and have a price tag of only 6 iron, I'll give them a C. Ender pearls. Ender pearls are unfortunately heading to the same place as diamond armor. They're way too expensive for anyone to use in a real game, meaning that they're only used in long games. Even in long games, you could save up a stack of diamonds, buy an ender pearl, and then throw it into the void by accident. At least diamond armor you don't lose so quickly. So yeah, ender pearls are getting an F. Chests. Chests are mostly used in long games, but you could just use them if you want to save your extra resources before you leave your base. There really isn't much to be said about chests, as they're pretty self-explanatory. I'll give chests a C because you could just use them to play safe. Ladders. Ladders are fun and all, but they aren't actually that practical. The only real use I can see for them right now is flybridging. You can argue that they're useful for climbing, but you could just do that with blocks, and blocks are cheaper than ladders. With ladders, you can climb something, jump down, and then climb it again, but how many situations are there where you have to do that? Ladders are getting a C. TNT. TNT could be kind of useful if you're about to jump onto someone's egg defense, but you don't have time to break the blocks because they might hit you off. You could drop some TNT on it to instantly get to the egg. This is unless they have obsidian on it. So yeah, TNT is getting a C. Player tracker. Player trackers are pretty useful. I would say that it does cost a little bit more than it should, but that's not too much of a problem. Campers and underbasers are actually more common than you think, making player trackers a B tier item. And finally, we have all the items. Here is the final tier list with all the items on it, and if you've made it this far into the video and haven't hit that like and subscribe button, I would highly suggest you do so, because this video took ages to make. Anyways, that's all. I hope you enjoyed. Bye!